Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, the place where I share about my spiritual path, the journey that I've gone through to live more consciously, and the hopes that it will help you as well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that you can raise your vibration. So it's been asked of me quite a bit to do a video about how do I raise my vibration, how do I elevate myself to like the next should we say the next like stage for our like spiritual progression and development. To be honest, in answer to that first part, it does take time. It's said that we are energy beings living a physical experience, and everything's vibration. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions, everything is energy. So as we raise our vibration, everything raises with us. So going through certain experiences in our life can trigger certain vibrations for us to raise our frequency, like higher, more positive emotions, and certain things can trigger us to lower our frequency. That's another thing. It is possible to lower your vibration. Even if you've risen it, you can come back down, and that's just from something as simple as feeling negative emotions and feelings and harbor onto thoughts and beliefs that no longer serve you. But there's many different ways that we can clear that energy, feel better, and inevitably raise our vibration. So I thought there'd be 5 good ways that I think are some of the best ways to get that energy shifting and moving, some things that I regularly practice. So the first one, which won't be a surprise, I speak about a lot, is meditation. So anyone who's begun their spiritual path, or I wouldn't even say not just spiritual path, but journey of self-discovery, would know that meditation is very important and like the root practice. What meditation does is, first of all, it calms the mind, calms our energy, and it centers our energy for us to become more present in the moment. Now, when we do that, we receive a whole host of benefits. On the physical level, our body can experience immense healing. Physical level, our body can experience immense healing, peace, a level of coherence. There's multiple benefits that can happen in the brain from meditation. And what it also does is it narrows our focus to more of the present moment. So even though it will narrow our focus to now, it actually expands our mind and our energy. When you connect in meditation, we connect to our higher self and the higher energies that are around us, almost like connecting to source energy, divine energy, which is abundant around us. If we can switch off our minds and come back to presence and be centered through meditation, through breath work, we then connect to the higher energies that are around us. We align to our higher nature, which of course raises our vibration, brings a level of balance, and promotes peace. So meditating regularly is a sure way to raise your vibration. Meditating regularly is a sure way to raise your vibration to the next level. The more you meditate, the more your energy will rise. So meditation is often spoken about, but that doesn't mean it's overrated. Meditation is a key ingredient to raising your vibration energy. And if you haven't tried meditation before, I encourage you to do that and give it a go. Just sit quietly for a few minutes even, just focusing on your breath, and do that a few times a day or once a day, but try and do it every day and after a period of time. Number 2 is diet and nutrition and drinking plenty of water. Now, diet and nutrition, obviously we know is very important because of the health of our bodies, but we don't realize that when we're thinking in terms of energy and that everything's energy, food also carries energy and vibration. So what you eat, what you put inside your body, is most certainly going to affect your body and your energy and of course your vibration. If you eat lower energy foods or processed foods, foods that are not good for the body, then of course it's going to cause various physical issues, but also energetic issues as well. So I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to go into details on what foods and what to avoid, what not to avoid. That's not what I'm able to advise on. But what I will say is that becoming conscious of your dietary needs and your eating habits is essential. Now I can talk about my personal experience. So the last few months in particular, I've cleared up my diet quite a bit. I never ate bad, but I've certainly improved more than what I was eating before. And I would make sure that I would eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, nuts and pulses. Now, I'm not vegan. I still do eat some meat, but I make sure that the meat that I eat is of a higher quality and organic. So eventually, at some point, you may not need to eat any meat at all to have the purest vibration. But I think everyone's bodies and nutritional needs are different, and it can take time to adjust your diet. So as I'm speaking about diet and nutrition, don't think, oh my goodness, how am I going to change my diet straight away? Do it gradually, and don't worry about what other people are doing. If there's just one thing that you can change or cut out, then do that, and just keep doing that until that becomes the norm for you, then move on to something else. But what I will just say with regards to nutrition is there's a lot of knowledge coming about even of our gut health and the gut-brain connection. So what we eat does have an effect on our gut, not just for the obvious reasons, but there's a lot of studies that showing that a lot of serotonin, the feel-good feelings, and our immune system is all rooted from our gut health. So if you're going to fill your body with very sugary foods, processed foods that are not good for you, it's going to damage your gut, and that is where diseases are said to stem from. So with my diet, what I have done is I have reduced the carb intake that I have. So my diet is usually consists of a high protein diet and fat, good fats, and reduced carbs, reduced sugars. I might treat myself to a couple of things every now and then. That's not going to hurt. Don't be too harsh on yourself, but making sure that you are aware of your body and its needs. If there's certain ailments that you may have, it might be worth doing a bit of research with a nutritionist or looking online to see if there's any links to gut health with whatever ailments that you have. And you might be surprised to find that there actually is. So making sure that you eat good is one, and drinking plenty of water. On cue, my mouth's a bit dry at the moment, so I'm drinking some water now. Making sure that you drink plenty of water. Now, there's a lot of information out there about what type of water to drink and what not to drink. Again, I'm not a nutritionist, so I can't actually say or make any recommendations. However, what I do is I drink spring water. I don't really drink tap water anymore. I will drink bottled spring water and put it in a glass jug. If you can get glass bottles, that's even better. But I just want to try and make sure that what drink and fluid I'm putting into my body is the most purest that I can possibly get. So diet's a big one. Take it slow, gradual for you. Do some research. But nutritionally speaking, being conscious of what you put in your body is a huge factor in raising your vibration. Number 3, which is a personal favourite of mine, and that's connecting with nature. Again, that should not really be a surprise because nature, its very essence, is just pure, high, natural healing energy. So I have a great fascination and love for animals and nature in general. When I was going through a very difficult time in my life, at the beginning of my awakening, when I was going through a period where I didn't find anything to be positive about, depressed, reclusive, so anxious, one thing that got me through that, whilst I was still getting into my spiritual journey and waking up, was being out in the garden and connecting with the birds. I used to feed the birds. I used to get to know all the different species and watch them in fascination, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of them. The more energy I'd put out there, the more birds would come in, and it was a wonderful healing and sense of relief for me. So that was a very, very big part of my awakening. What I still like to do now is take walks. Don't do it as often as I should, but walks out in nature. But I've got such an affinity with water. So if you want to know my favorite scene to relax and be out in nature, it's anything to do with the water, a sunset or sunrise, and just a load of trees around. It's just a beautiful scene for me. So anything that can get you into nature. I also do a lot of gardening. It's very grounding. There's a lot of healing energies that comes from being outside, the fresh air being obviously one. And the plants are pure energy. They give off oxygen, so they give off a life force for us. We breathe out carbon dioxide, which is something that they need as well. It's a wonderful exchange. So there's also something else called tree hugging. You may have heard the term tree huggers. If you just lay against the tree, it's quite amazing, really. It's very subtle. So sometimes I've not always been able to feel something, but I actually have been able to, on the occasion, feel just this wonderful sense of peace and pureness. You can rest on a tree and you get restorative. It's a very common experience to feel. It's not just it might sound a bit woo-woo, but it is a thing. So just being out in nature and connecting to if you can go outside, what I sometimes do in the garden on a nice day, not like what it has been lately, but on a really, really sunny day, barefoot on the grass. It's a wonderful way to ground your energy and connect directly to the pure Mother Nature energies. So there's many different benefits and ways you can connect with nature, but whatever it is that it may be for you, or anything to do with animals, connect with that. For me, gardening is one of them. Going for walks in nature is one of them. Being around water is one of them. By that very nature, it's a pure energy and you're connecting to that essence. So being in nature is definitely a very powerful way to raise your energy. Number 4, which again you've probably heard me speak about before, especially if you follow my posts on Instagram, is gratitude. So I could do a whole video on gratitude. In fact, I probably will at some point, because it is a really, really wonderful subject to speak about, because it holds so much healing potential. Now, gratitude is an amazing thing to experience, because it's been proven. If you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, his research is wonderful. He's like a scientist, bridging together the science and the spirituality together, and he's done so much study on the brain. Now, gratitude has been spoken about by many other teachers before anyway, but in his work that I've recently studied and looked at, which sticks out in my mind, is he did an experiment on a group of students, and they were trying to measure the most powerful chemical that the immune system produces. I can't think off the top of my head what that is. And in that experiment, they did a swab test to see what that chemical was, at what level it was. This test was, I believe, over a period of 3 days, 10-minute meditation, practicing gratitude. And by that means practicing feeling positive affirmations. In this experiment, it would get the students to do 3 10-minute meditations, so 30 minutes in total over a course of 3 days. And what the idea was is he wanted the students to experience elevated emotions, meditate practicing, experiencing feelings such as gratitude, love, joy, appreciation, and really hone in on that feeling so that you could feel that with your whole being. And what they found after those few days of those meditation practices, when they did the swab test again to measure that same chemical, it had gone up by an absolutely astounding amount. I don't have the exact figures off the top of my head, but this study I discovered from his book, How to Become Supernatural. It's an amazing book, and the information on that experiment is there. But what that showed is that we have the ability to heal ourselves, boost our immune system by just feeling elevated emotions of gratitude, love, and peace. Now, being grateful is another wonderful thing, Because if we're going along the idea that everything's energy, so all our thoughts, emotions and feelings and what we say carries energy and vibration. And what we say, what we believe, and what we determine as our reality becomes our experience as a mirror by the universe. Then by that very definition, it means that if we then define ourselves as always being grateful, we always find something to be grateful for. We are always then going to experience the feeling of gratitude and that I've got something to be grateful for. Therefore, it will be reflected back to us in the fact that we will always be given things to be grateful for. So if you want to really appreciate something, if you experience some form of abundance and you think, I don't know if I deserve this, or I feel guilty for having this, don't. The main thing I would say to do is, if you experience something and you are wondering, do you deserve this? Yes, you do. But the main thing, the best way to give anything back is to say thanks and have complete gratitude in your heart for it. Because what that's doing, the universe loves gratitude. It's putting out there the appreciation and the love that you have for what that thing is and your life. You will always be in that flow of having something to be grateful for. So by that definition, you're also experiencing very high positive feelings. High positive feelings equals high positive vibration. So that will help your baseline vibration to be at a constant high. If your baseline state of being is of gratitude and the positive feelings that come with that, the more you do it, then your energy will remain at that baseline frequency, very, very high. So there's a lot about gratitude, and that's put that in my head. I will do a separate video about that for another time. And finally, number 5 is kindness. So this is kind of a similar concept to the gratitude experience that I spoke a moment ago. I've recently shared some posts about kindness and the power that it can give as well. But if we go back to the idea of what I was saying, by being in a constant state of gratitude, if you're being kind to yourself, it's not just being kind to others, it's being kind to yourself, then you're offering love, compassion and kindness you're offering that out to the universe as a default expression. So just think about that. When everything gets reflected back to us, if you're being kind all the time from the goodness of your heart, not just for the sake of being kind to expect to get something back, because you are being that generous being, you're always going to have that received back to you. And again, it's a loving emotion, a loving feeling. Remembering that emotions and our feelings come from 2 separate places, love and fear. So anything that comes from fear and down that whole web and line of many different emotions that make us feel uncomfortable, that's lowering our vibe. Anything stemming from love is going to be high. Kindness is in that. And I believe I spoke about this on some live streams before, and I hadn't remembered the name of the guy that I learnt this from. There's a guy called David Hamilton who wrote a book about kindness and how kindness can really heal our bodies. So one thing that I learned and discovered is that when you offer an act of kindness to someone, it releases the good chemical feelings in our brain. It changes our brain and chemical structure. No more of the stress hormones, cortisol, anything like that from the flight and flight adrenaline. This will release much more positive chemicals that our body needs when you are given an act of kindness to anyone or anything. What was also amazing is the person that was at the receiving end of that act of kindness also experienced the same chemical reaction in the body. Even though they didn't give kindness, they received it, it had the same effect. Even more amazing is that it was observed that those that witnessed the act of kindness also experienced that same chemical reaction. So offering kindness to someone that you may know or may not know. It can even just be something as a smile. Smiling. You know, smiling is a wonderfully healing thing to do. The physical act of smiling is healing. But if you just gave someone a smile or did a small gesture, it doesn't matter how big or small, if it's extravagant or something simple, just something from an act of kindness to help somebody else or another being will set up a chain reaction for many reasons. One, for you. You will have done that act of kindness. You will have then experienced you would have had internal experience, I should say, from that act of kindness, whether you're aware of it or not. But your body will have gone through whatever reaction and experience that it's gone through, and the energy would have shifted. So that will then influence how you will be in the next moment and the next and the next, whether you realize it or not. It's better than acting out of fear or a negative emotion, right? Also, it will have a chain reaction effect on other people. Because if you offer an act of kindness to somebody else and it's made their day, you often hear that, oh, that's made my day, that has. They will then feel better. It will then influence their inner experience within them, which will then influence their behavior for the rest of that day. And they may then be influenced to do an act of kindness to another person as well. And the same effect, and it's how it goes. So your simple act of kindness could change hundreds to thousands of people's lives. You just don't know. But it will also change yours. You will have a higher vibration because you're giving kindness, just being generous with nothing needed in return. You know, you don't need anything in return, but you will get the return because everything comes back to us. Because if you're always putting out kindness, that's what you're going to get back. In whatever form the universe manifested for you, from how you attract things to your life, but it all balances out. But having kindness, again, anything that has a positive feeling or energy vibration will keep your vibration high. So kindness, I can't speak enough about. Again, that's another topic that deserves a video in its own right. But those are some really good ways that you can help keep your energy on a higher level. And for me, I like to practice those as much as I can for it to become a way of life. Of course, there are many other different ways that you can raise your vibration. Self-observation is a really key one, being aware of your emotions and how that affects you. But I think that's something for another video in itself anyway, because self-observation, self-inquiry is a big topic. But I hope that that will help give you an idea of some ways that you can raise your vibration. Of course, if you had any comments or questions about that, then please do leave a comment below or drop me a message. If you did like the video or you found it helpful, please do give it a like, and please do consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in seeing more content. And don't forget to check out my Instagram page. I'll leave a link down below where I post daily content about my spiritual journey and what I do to practice the art of conscious living. But until next time, guys, take care. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon and evening wherever you are. Love and light. Take care.